Alright, I was sitting in bed for like, what, 20 minutes before I hit record on this, trying to decide, hey, should I do this video or not? Because I'm very tired at the current moment, right? And eventually I decide, whatever, let's get off my lazy ass and let's try recording the video if it goes wrong. The worst that happens is I just have to scrap it. I say hiccuping and feeling quite nauseous, which is hopefully not a sign of things to come, as I don't like feeling nauseous, as common of a feeling as that usually ends up being. Anyway, so I finally got off my ass and was like, fuck it, I'll try to make a video. Like I said, worst that happens is I just don't use it. So here we are, doing... sorry, it's very late and I'm quite tired, and that's why I was like, oh, should I even... Anyway, it's, where the hell was I? So that's why we're doing the video on plants. Because I was chatting with some pals a few nights ago, and by a few nights ago, I think it is like last night. I think that's correct anyway. Anyway, I was chatting with some pals a few nights ago, and we were talking about like, cause these friends they write a little bit too. Of the ones in our little group that write, I'm the one that writes the most. Not really a thing to brag about, more just kind of like, wow, isn't that sad that I have very little life outside of just these things I do, mostly to occupy my time. Not that I don't like it, but still. And we were talking, because sometimes it hits a point where when I'm talking to people, they just ask me a question and kind of just assume I'll know the answer, because I tend to know a strangely wide variety of things. And the topic shifted over to plants somehow. I can't quite remember exactly how or why. I remember now. I remember now, but it's not a very interesting tale, so I'll spare you the details. And it eventually got to the point where I was talking about like how much I'd really love to get into a discussion about plants and like different methods for growing them and like native plants and their uses for the environment, or like interesting plants used in natural remedies or even eating. But A, it would probably be lost on them, and B, I don't know how much they'd care. And so it got to a point where they're like, oh, why don't you just make a video about it? And my response was, because I've already got 3 videos on that shit. And that's true, isn't it? I've got the video on food. I've got the video on world building for ecology. I've got the video for world building cultures. I think I even touched on the idea of food and plants and agriculture in my video on how monsters can shape your world building. And so I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that as a video idea. Lo and behold, here we are, because earlier today, what time is it? Yeah, earlier today, because it's still today. I was trying to tell myself, like, oh, what video ideas could I do? And I couldn't think of a damn thing, so I'm just like, fuck it, we're gonna redo a plants video, because I won't talk about those. It didn't help that I was watching Plants vs. Zombies videos again. So, yeah, that might be where the idea came from, because I was thinking about Chester Chomper and Aquafina Pea Shooter. Berry Blast Pea Shooter. Or is it just Berry Shooter? If anyone knows the video I was watching, nice. Anyway. Like I said last time, any video ideas, hit me with them. Any whatever, hit me with them. Should be background footage playing right now. And in the description there are my notes, so if you want to use those instead of listening to my bullshit, because granted it's quite frankly past my bedtime. Not that I have one, but I should get one, because like holy shit, I shouldn't be awake right now. but I'm having fun. So I don't think I have anything else to say, and let's get into it now. So, first of all, let's start vague and then start getting into specifics. What's the vaguest thing I can say here? Hmm. I should have double checked my notes because these aren't as in depth as I had hoped they were going to be. I hope that didn't sound really annoying. I was yawning. You know what? First, I'm gonna hit you with a quote. I got this quote from this really cool website I've been browsing in my free time. It's called plantsforafuture.org. pfaf.org. And then if you're in their dashboard, you go to plant uses, you hit edible uses, and the quote's right there. And the quote is as follows: there are over 20,000 species of edible plants in the world, and yet fewer than 20 species now provide 90% of our food. However, there are hundreds of less well-known edible plants from all around the world, which are both delicious and nutritious. Now, why am I telling you that? I'm trying to do this as a way to break up the stereotype or maybe a pre-existing idea in your head that you may not have known that you had. And that idea is plants are fucking boring and stupid and dumb. Who gives a shit about them when I could make a fucking really cool shark species or something, or like a really wicked like lion wolf hybrid might even be king of the jungle, right? And I have this to say to you: plants are badass. Fungi are also badass. Yes, I'm aware they're very different things, but I'm trying to tell you that like producers and decomposers are fucking badass. The humble snail has survived for such a long period of time. It's not. Hold on, I was arguing with a friend. I'm not arguing. I was agreeing with a friend about this as of yesterday. Snails are not F tier. Tier zoo. Ugh. Yeah, these are fucking clams. No bivalve mollusk is F tier. What the fuck is this shit? Sorry, I'm messing with OBS. Anyway, that's a completely separate tangent. That will be about animals again, or in ecology again, if I ever want to redo that video, because there are some mistakes in that video I want to correct, but that's not what this video is about. Though it goes hand in hand. You may be thinking cheese underscore stick one, that was a nice quote and all, but that doesn't really matter for a whole lot of much of anything. I'm not gonna go out and chew wild grass. And while I'm not telling you to go out and chew wild grass, I am telling you that, hey, consider planting 3 native species in your garden or yard or whatever. I'm assuming you're American, and so assuming you have like a yard. I'm also assuming you're not in an apartment. I'm also assuming you have like a lawn or something. Whatever. You can always find something to stuff in the ground. It'll take root probably, and if not, bleed on it a little bit. If this is gonna sound so bizarre and strange, but this is something I was thinking about because like, hey, post-apocalypse stories are really fun, and this is a weird like fun fact I know. So it's well known plants fucking love blood. What is mildly less known is that menstrual blood is really like powerful to a plant. So if you're a woman and the plant you like to grow is dying and your cycle's coming up, consider it, I guess, if you want to save the plant. I don't know, something witch powers anyway, because the moon sickness or whatever. Where the fuck did my phone go? I put it down for one damn second. Did I put it? While I look for my phone, I'm gonna continue on with what I was saying. So the point of the quote. Also, start planting native plants around your location. It's really important that you fuck grass. First of all, I'm not the biggest fan of grass, both for looks and for the fact that it's one of the most water hungry fucking plants this side of the Mississippi, and also the other side of the Mississippi. Grass is fucking ubiquitous. Stuff in more native plants into your yard because it's really important for you know native insect species and maybe even native bird species if you have a few around. Not the time. The point I'm trying to get at is that, hey, 20,000 species. That's just the edible ones. Plants are quite possibly. Well, I don't know if that's true, so I'm not even going to say it. But there are a whole hell of a lot of. There's a whole shockingly large amount of diversity and complexity when it comes to plants. The way they evolve, the way they grow, how they propagate themselves, right? How they ward off predators, how they attract uh, animals to continue to spread their seeds. And then that's not even going into the fact of how humans have cultivated them. You know, the most obvious example is with I believe it's fucking broccoli. Whatever species of plant, I forget the name, that domestic broccoli comes from, also provides cauliflower, spinach, Brussels sprouts, collard greens, and a bunch of other bullshit. It's all just one plant that's weirdly been bred to either have wider leaves, squatter buds, whatever, etc., etc. Though, like, I've been, I've also been really getting into watching like homesteading content again, which is something I do on and off. Recently, it's been a little, well, no, about like a month back. That sounds right. I got a real big kick out of aquaponics systems again, and I'll touch on aquaponics systems later on in this video. But recently it's been akin to bushcraft, but not really. It's like foraging I got really into again because, hey, I think the idea of like all of these plants have a use to humans, and of course, not everything needs an inherent use, right? They're plants. They're not here for us to exploit, though we easily can. I just think the idea that holy shit, there are a lot of different uses for this plant, this plant, this plant, and this plant is such a very easy to use idea for just about any story. Contemporary or otherwise, I guess it's harder if you're writing like a romance story or something. But say you're doing fantasy or even just like fiction in general, I guess. What I say? No, I don't mean fiction, I guess, because even a romance story is like an adventure story, I guess. Not only is it really easy, really cheap and easy world building to have some unique sort of plants in your story, but also it's just like a nice way of giving yourself some breathing. If you watch a few of my videos, maybe this is your first video or whatever. Hi, I go on tangents and sort of my thing. I apologize if you don't like this. If you've seen a few of my other videos, and you'll hear me gush about a cooking scene very often, and the reason I do that is, like I say always, is because it helps you slow the pace down, give us a little bit of characterization, let us spend time with these characters so we can start to get attached, and then the rest of the plot flows as it will. I think a nice little scene where they discuss or forage or look at this fucking scenery and greenery could what's the word I'm looking for? Not pad out, no, round out some characterization scenes. It also helps that I personally like it, and I know a lot of these videos are just, hey, what do I personally like? But in this case, I think it's got a point, right? Especially if you're doing something like a post-apocalypse or a low-tech setting. Obviously, fantasy is ripe for it, but with fantasy, you're likely to get these sort of magical plants, right? I'm gonna even live add this magical plants. With fantasy, you're likely to get these sorts of things instead of real, actual natural remedies. And when I say natural remedies, I don't mean putting a rock to your forehead and channeling your inner spirit to fix a broken leg, right? When I say natural remedies, I mean like, um, what is it? Yew bark into a tea for a natural sort of painkiller, right? I mean, raspberry tea leaves to replenish blood iron because they're high in iron. I Things like that. I'm blanking right. Honey is a natural antimicrobial and antibacterial, right? Eggshell membrane is really good for blood clotting, and I think it's also antibacterial, but I'm not so sure on that. I know it's good to glue your wounds shut, stuff like that. Ugh, sudden headache. I apologize. I was about to list off a few more things I know, and then completely just got my fucking brain scrambled by a sudden shooting pain. So I think that's a sign to stop here. But I'm gonna finish this little thought real quick. Is that hey, it bothers me a lot when fantasy just goes, healing herb or something of the sort instead of, like jute. How do you pronounce that? Hmm, Jute. Uh, jute? Yeah. I'm pretty sure jute is also can be I know it's a textile fiber. I know that much. Am I getting this confused with something else? Not the point. Um, and then we're gonna talk about fibers and cordage and stuff like that later, because hey, fun fact, I know how to do cordage. I'm not the best at it, but I know how to do cordage. Give me a few fibers and I can twist you a little bit of twine. But we'll get into all that later. But now let's actually get into the notes I have. So Vegas probably is different environments provide different challenges, ecologically speaking. Maybe thinking she's on a square stick one, yeah, no shit, that's pretty obvious. But remember how I mentioned magical plants? I feel like for a lot of stories, because again, magical plants are a pretty fantastical thing, i.e., that's a pretty clear-cut fantasy trope. I think for a lot of these magical plants that people use in their stories, they focus on the magical part first and not on the plant side. Part of it is also because of like this weird, how do I put it? Pop cultureification of alchemy, as if hermetic alchemy isn't the most fucking insane shit ever. Look up hermetic alchemical seals. Her, whoops, hermetic alchemy symbols. There we are. This shit is fucking insane. Like, it's not normal. But like I was saying, I think a lot of the whole pop cultureification of alchemy is like now people just think of alchemy as like I don't want to say and everyone thinks of it like this, but no, I see a lot in some of the stories I've been trying to find and read and whatnot. People think a lot of like the alchemy is just okay, mash up a few herbs in a mortar and pestle, add a bit of water, and boom, I got a potion now if they're boil it or something. Um, no, I don't think so. First of all, it'd be more like a poultice or a salve. Is it pronounced solve or salve? Not the time, man. Not the fucking time. But focus. But the actual point I'm trying to get at here is like, oh, it's a magic herb. It has magic properties. It grows fucking everywhere. It's the healing herb. Natural remedies aren't just like a aha cure all or universal painkiller, right? Or universal anti-inflammatory. No, stuff like a wormwood as a dewormer. It just kind of it's just a fucking poison, and then we get you to puke that shit out afterwards, right? Like I feel like okay, no. I'm distracting myself. I'm going into magical plants. I want to talk about the ecology. I want to talk about the environment because people view this magical herb as just the magical one-stop shop fix all heals you plant. That they focus less on it as a plant and more of like a bottle of aspirin. The healing herb, whatever it may be, if it does exist like that in your world, hey, shit, fine, whatever, it's magic, it's shit. I still don't think it should grow universally in desert or fucking tundra or forest or grassland or bog. You get what I'm saying? Cause there's magic and then there's just like, oh, the author didn't want to think of another plant. or recipe or what have you. You know what I mean? Like, different environments provide different challenges, and this feels like a, yeah, no shit. But in stories where like, oh, I will harvest this for this effect. It's just like, while you're traveling, don't forget to grab the. I was about to make up a word. I don't feel like making up a word. The the antitoxin mushroom on your way around. Actually, let's not use mushrooms. Mushrooms just no. Let's use mushrooms. Mushrooms do have specific environmental specifications that they need to have met before they can grow. Don't forget to grab the antitoxin mushroom on your way out, and then travel in a completely new foreign environment. Oh, are you low on the antitoxin mushroom? Here, let me go get some for you. As if these two places aren't wildly different and would instead host a completely different array of plants. And maybe thinking, oh, cheese underscore stick one, you sweet summer child, you absolute buffoon. I will simply rename the thing and use it as I will. Sure, fine, but if you're putting a little bit of effort, why not go the whole 9 yards? Maybe thinking, cheese underscore stick one, doesn't this go against your last video where you said, hey, as an author, you should definitely remember that your time and effort cannot be universally spread thin. You must focus on what you need to focus on and let things fall by the wayside what need to fall by the wayside. And to that I say, la 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 la, not listening, I really like plants. I have somewhat of a green thumb, partially unrelated. Like, anything I grow just doesn't fucking die. I seem to get it from my grandpa on my mother's side. Makes sense, as that's where my Mexican roots are strongest. I can make this joke. You can't, unless you are also Mexican. Landscaping runs in our blood, apparently. No, but back to what I was saying with environment creates different ecological challenges. Even beyond just how can the plants affect the main character, a lot of people have forest travel almost like you're just taking a hike on a trail. Very much not the case. Forests are very messy fucking things, by which I mean it's difficult to traverse them because you're constantly trampling shit. You're constantly trampling over low shrubs, you're constantly raising your knees up high to avoid the knees of roots. You're constantly having to fucking watch out for not footholds, fucking dips in the ground so you don't sprain your ankle is what I'm trying to go for. Which is very different to, believe it or not, a grassland where the biggest fucking danger is, holy shit, the sun won't stop killing me and I think there are 20 different ants in my boots. Because ants fucking love grass. When I was 3, I was covered head to toe in fire ants. That shit was not fun. I think I passed out when that happened, though. So I don't remember much of it, which is good. Anyway, but, if your story focuses on travel, and again, it's pretty easy to just say that they go through a well-established trail and that's fine. But if they aren't, please keep in mind, hey, it kind of sucks walking around place to place, and that's why trails existed. Which, again, you don't need to focus on it, but it would be fun to like write a few things here and there, and it may even provide you ample opportunity to shake up the plot in a few different ways, or add this or that or the other thing to your story, to your characters. Have them in this new, distinct foreign location for a nice little set piece. Really get wild with it. Obviously, because it's plants. Wild, haha, it's a funny joke. Laugh, please, or else I'll feel very upset at myself. But what I'm really trying to tell you is to take advantage of what you yourself are writing in the story. If you're giving yourself room to play around with things, take the time to at least do yourself a favor and try. If it doesn't work out, that's why we have drafts, right? So if you think it's a detraction, you can scrap it. Go ahead, right? Drop it. But at least try once. And do a little bit of research into how these things work. People on YouTube will happily just fucking do this shit for fun. Something something outdoor boys, something something. That video I keep getting recommended, Altoids survival kit. Hold on, let me find it. Try to take a sip of water. Phone, password, youtube.com, search function, Altoids fishing kit. I keep getting recommended this video. What is like the obsession with people like putting fishing kits in? Yeah, who is this fucking guy? 2 million views, 3 days in the wild using an Altoids tin survival kit to survive, no food or water. People just do this shit for fun. You can just go on YouTube and figure it out after watching a rather entertaining videos for say like 2 hours in like one afternoon. Why do you think I started writing a post-apocalypse story? Haha, I fooled you. Trick question. This is a very, very, very loosely based on a fan fiction I like for a fandom I don't give a fuck about. Okay, I like the fandom, I don't care about the source material. Very, very loosely based on it. The idea ran away from me very quickly, and guess what most of it's about now? It's about plants. It's always been about plants. We're gonna have the main character walk around. We're gonna have the main character encounter different ways of cultivation. Do you know what crop rotation is? Do you know how to do aquaponics? Guess what, asshole! In seventh grade, I made a mind like a a what's the word I'm looking for? I made a no, not model. I made a scaled down. That's the phrase. I made a scaled down aquaponics system with PVC pipe and a small pump in seventh grade. You can do this in your backyard, which I believe is allowed in most states, even without a permit. There are videos on YouTube as well teaching you how to do aquaponics systems. I will get into aquaponics systems, don't worry, because I fucking love these things conceptually. They're so incredible to me. It combines hydroponics and aquaculture. If you know what those two words are, put them together, that's aquaponics. If you don't worry, I'll get into it. So stick around. Anyway, I don't know what else I want to say for different environments, and I may keep getting distracted if I don't finish here, so let's go on to magical plants, because that has definitely been distracting me a whole hell of a lot. I have already alluded to it earlier in this video already. What do I not like about magical plants? This tendency authors have to make it just be this end-all be-all of here is the toxin cure, here is the health potion material, here is the haste potion material. The way I do it for my D&D games is different plants have different attributes for it. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. Do I have it here? Yes, I don't know where my shit is. Oh, right, that's what that was. Okay, hold on, sorry. I'm just, need to find it real quick. My files are very messy. PETA.org, what the fuck is that? Oh, right. No, I went too far. Where the fuck is it in my files? Did I transfer this? I did. No, okay, right. It's here, right? Yeah. In my files, not in my files. Sorry. For example, my D&D campaigns, I literally made myself with because of course the DMG doesn't really give proper guidance for this. I made myself this large spreadsheet with a bunch of fake ass plants and also some other stuff like, just eggs and ash and sugar and whatnot. Um, for what potion making ingredients there are. And my players, it's up to them to collect the materials and actually physically create them themselves. Um, and it's this big spreadsheet, and the actual recipes themselves are more like don't starve cooking recipes, where it's X unit of this attribute, Y unit of this attribute, and if you have too much of this, then it ruins the potion, etc., etc. And then there's even one explicitly that just dilutes whatever you put into it, so it just kind of like knocks ranks off of the other stuff. So you can just end up with some theoretically 20 ingredient long potion and still end up with just like a basic healing one or something like that. Because that's more fun for like the player to do and figure out and make their own little recipes on a little note card and be like, okay, I think I have created this. These are the correct ingredients that lead to X thing, right? I've painted this picture to you to express this following thought after I finish this bottle, finish the little sip of water. Magical plants should definitely be more in depth, or at least on par with their benign, real world natural remedy counterparts. Like I said before, or alluded to before, like natural plants are a bit more specific than that, or at least not as effective, or something to that effect. You get what I'm trying to say. So for a magical, and I don't want to sound like, oh, no fun allowed. It has to be a perfect, like, perfectly balanced chemistry equation. But I mean more in terms of the more wheels you give yourself to roll around, like in front of you, the more you get to like pick out in specific to give yourself a little new place to shoot your plot forward. Here's something I thoroughly am disappointed with for a lot of fantasy stories that I end up seeing this plot done every so often. You know how I just finished mentioning how, oh yeah, it's usually just like this herb is the poison cure all. Well, guys, this new poison, it's just not being cured by it. I don't understand. Pulls you aside. Hello, it's me, the elderly crone witch, here to tell you about the secret super duper cure all. It's very secret and hidden deep in the mountains, and it's very rare, and you must journey to find it. Completely contrived, of course, right? Of course, only this plant will work. And of course, just no one has it on hand either. If it's such a rare thing, ain't no way in hell that shit ain't being plucked the second we can and let it go on with its cycle. Or at least we try to propagate it or something. And of course, there's always going to be in universe in lore explanations, parentheses, see excuse, close parentheses. I, as an audience, am very sick of this this canned routine. I'm certain other people are too. I'm personally sick of it just because it feels cheap. Like, oh my god, how are we ever gonna help X character who has this horrible affliction? Don't worry. The next 15 chapters, if it's like an online indie writing project, or the next 5 chapters if it's a real book, are going to be dedicated to fixing this one person because the standard conventional cure doesn't work. And this isn't thinly veiled. Ugh, I kicked my headphone wire and got my stuff disconnected because of my frustration. That was completely unintentional. But like, it just feels so transparent, so thin, and very poor world building. Because you could think of it like, oh, it's just being subverted. Like, oh, we thought the thing would work and it wasn't, and now we're gonna have to go jump through hoops for them. I don't like that. That feels shitty. That feels weak. It makes me not invested in the story. I don't know if that's I'm pretty sure that's not a personal thing. You guys agree, right? I'm not weird for this? And I know for a fact I wouldn't feel this way if it was established that unique remedies are used for a wide assortment of different things, right? Like steep these petals and combine it with I don't know, fucking sand or something, and then wrap it in a bandage, and boom, you have a powerful burn cream. Or you can take this same plant right? Add mustard seed and this specific mushroom spore, and now you have a powerful antitoxin for I don't know, like whatever gas is leaking from a swamp or something. Like maybe thinking there isn't a reason to have different remedies when the same one works for the purposes of your narrative. But different remedies are there for the purpose of your story. And maybe thinking cheese underscore stick one, what does that mean? Or isn't that the same thing? I don't personally think so. The narrative is the raw by the numbers, what happens in your plot. The story is the characterization, the flavor, and the soul. And I think having various remedies is really good for your world building, which is really good for your story's soul. I don't know what else to say for this part, so I'm going to start moving on now. Let's get to the most obvious thing ever for like a video on plants. Food. So obvious, in fact, I have a video on that already that I do think you should give a watch and then come back and watch this one. I don't remember how much of what I'm about to say is going to be repeated. I definitely know I brought up like the whole like super poison thing, because that genuinely does bother me that much that it's like a year later and I still don't like it. But check this shit out, right? Like I said earlier, less than 20 species, supposedly. I don't know where the sources are on that, but I do believe this website to be trustworthy. Considering I do believe they actually have, like, their sources, I just don't read them. Anyway. We currently farm using this amazing practice called monocropping. If you couldn't hear it in my voice, I didn't actually mean it when I called it an amazing practice. I, generally speaking, fucking loathe monocropping. I do not find it appealing. No one does. Cornfields shouldn't exist, I don't think. Now, why do we do it? It's easy, and we don't want to put in too much effort. That's pretty much the long and short of it. What are the benefits? We get a lot of this one kind of food, and it's easy to harvest. What are the cons? Destruction of soil health, destruction of local biodiversity, mass amounts of pesticides, just horrible, disgusting amounts of pesticides, horrible, disgusting amounts of fertilizers because of this one specific crop only taking in these specific kinds of nutrients and not giving back to the soil enough to replenish it, which requires us to pump in exorbitant amounts of fertilizers into the soil to replenish the amounts, which doesn't sound like a bad thing on its own until you realize that these nutrient dense soils don't run deep enough to house all of it. So when rain comes, or when they're even just watered, all of that runoff, heavily nutrient dense, flows into natural watersheds, causing massive algal blooms, which is toxic to local water systems, including fish and insects and plants and what have you. What's another thing? Oh, right, fucking stupid. So I like genetically modified crops. I do enjoy that my plants are more drought resistant. I do enjoy that my plants are naturally more like fungal resistant and pest resistant. What I don't like is the idea that these companies own the seed. Why is that? You're not allowed to replant it, and should they find that these seeds have made their way onto your crop fields, you can be sued. Horribly. It is not that uncommon that these seeds are spread by the wind or spread by birds and shit and get people into trouble that they didn't know was going to happen. I don't like that. Right? Monocropping fucking sucks. It's also not great, nutritionally speaking. Let's be honest with ourselves. And I don't just mean this because I don't really personally like corn all that much. It's too sweet, in my opinion. Corn fucking sucks. It's water hungry like a motherfucker. And no, I don't mean thirsty when it's for plants. It's a little bit different. So I like calling it water hungry. It's water hungry like a motherfucker. It saps the soil of so many important compounds. I think nitrates primarily, and not calcium. Nitrogen as well. It gives very little back to the soil beneath it. And most importantly, despite being fairly calorie dense, it's not really nutrient dense. Corn fucking sucks, technically speaking. Loath as I am to admit it, beans are better, squash is better, right? Rice isn't better. Rice is not better. A bunch of other like vegetables are better, right? But what's corn's benefit? It's like really easy to harvest. That's like it. Well, that's unfair, right? Because I'll give corn some credence here. It's a very useful crop. Cornmeal, straight up corn, dry it out, do a bunch of shit with it. Right? Boil it, eat it raw, fry it. When you have it in cornmeal, you can do fucking anything from there. Arguably, the same as much as you can do with flour. Is what I'm trying to say. I would not mind corn if it wasn't monocropped. I would not mind wheat if it wasn't monocropped. I loathe monocropping with a passion. Is there a more efficient way of farming? I couldn't tell you. I'm not a plant scientist. Uh, sorry. What actually is it? I do not have a background in soil sciences. I do not have a background in food sciences. I do not have a background in genetic modifications. I am not a farmer. I could not tell you if there is a more efficient manner of farming that we're just not doing because efficient doesn't necessarily mean cheap. Here's the really cool, really fun, really awesome part though. Is that me and you, let me put you let me put you on this really cool secret. Me and you, we're writing fiction. We don't need to give a fuck about any of that shit. Now do we? No, we don't. We are absolutely free if we'd like to, and I urge you to, for world building purposes and just because a little bit of catharsis, just from me to you. To have your worlds, your stories, what have you, when you're mapping out how they get their food supply, what they grow. Can we please not have wheat fields? Can we please not have cornfields? Can we please splice in a few crops together that have a healthy balance on the soil? Just, from me to you, why do I think this? Why do I care about this? For starters, it's really fucking boring. I don't know if this is a me thing. In a story when all they eat is fucking rice and gruel. Not rice and gruel, I meant bread and gruel. And boiled meat. Which is something people seem to believe wholeheartedly that medieval peasants is all they ate back in the day. Newsflash, asshole. People like us were alive back then. What do I mean by that? Everyone wanted to eat a bunch of stuff. People really didn't like eating the same thing over and over and over and over again. If you want proof of this, go to the YouTube channel Townsends. Townsends. This channel pretty much is dedicated to history. Mostly in the lens of food, though there is a bit about, if you go to the playlist, is about like, I remember seeing them like make a fucking longhouse. I think that's what it was. My favorite video of theirs that I've watched is it's the marathon. It's the working man's diet that detailed a field laborer, well, something to that effect, what they would have had for breakfast, for lunch, for supper, for dessert, fucking the whole 9 yards. And you know what I found? The most beautiful thing I found when I watched that video, that 2 hour long video, is that these most certainly were people, as they ate a wide variety of things. And I thought to myself, damn, that shit sounds good. We really are twin for real. That was lame as fuck. What do I mean by this? So, the actual point I'm trying to make here. I think it's very boring when characters eat the same thing over and over again under the disguise, the veneer of being historically accurate. People did not eat bread for fucking months on end. People hated eating bread for months on end. People would add recipes have been passed down for generations, dog. For generations upon generations. People make biscuits. People make pastries. People make stews. People make pot roasts. People do anything to add variety to their diet. So would your fictional characters, and it gives your audience something new to read, which they may enjoy. And it can give your characters little quirks. How to humanize someone if they have a favorite food that they go for before anything else on that table. Personally speaking, I go fucking crazy for any solid lasagna or any pasta dish in general. Fucking love this stuff. Another reason why I think it's very fun for your fictional stories to have this wide, diverse array of food to pull from is for world building purposes. You want to make a fantasy food? You want to make your own edible plant? Go fucking nuts, dog. Who cares? That shit's awesome. My favorite part of seeing people's world building, and I will just straight up tell you, is the food. Which is bizarre because of this thought I've had. Is wow, I love food. I love how different recipes can be made. I love how diverse palates are, how different cultures take the same base ingredients and remix it and change it around and make this meal, that meal, and the other thing. The wide array of flavors and whatnot. I just wish I didn't have to eat it because I have a weird eating disorder. So it's very strange that I like it in my fiction so much. I think maybe. Never gonna talk to a therapist about it because that requires having that on record. And I live in America, and that shit's not good to have on your record. People don't like hiring people who are different. Even if that difference is as simple as, hey, eating makes me feel bad. Or maybe something like that, I don't know. Where was I? Alright, food. I don't know. It's just so fucking fun and interesting and just so uniquely real for your fictional story to have food be so varied. Give it a shot because it really is as simple as maybe 3 extra paragraphs in this scene every like 20 scenes or whatever. Not even 20. I don't even, not even fucking 20. How often do your characters eat in your stories? I don't know. It really is just that simple. And before you go, but what if they're on a long travel? What if they're overseas? Incorrect, wrong, guess again, let's try it again, once over. The ocean's a bounty, fuck you, alright? The, the fucking storeroom of the ship is stocked full of flour, of rice, of dried vegetables, usually potatoes and onions. I think even tomatoes, canned tomatoes. There's so much shit they could do on a ship. You ever heard of lobscouse? From the recipes I've seen people make online, that shit looks delicious. Lobscouse. Lobscouse. Either Townsend's or Tasting History with Max Miller. They both have videos on them. And let me tell you, this stew looks very delicious for something made with hardtack. You may be thinking, oh, hardtack. Oh, that's the thick cracker that's full of weevils. Incorrect. Popular culture has rot in your brain. Most of the time, hardtack was beaten into pieces and used as a thickener in stews and shit like that. You did not bite into hardtack. That is a nice way to lose a tooth. You only did that if you were especially desperate, and even then you would have softened it with water or oil. That's what Revolutionary War soldiers did if they were very desperate. Or they made something like, what was it called? Hellfire stew. You take your bacon grease that's left over, and you take your hardtack, you smash up the hardtack, and you fry it in the bacon grease. People would do anything to get variety into their diets. Being a traveler, being a soldier, being away at sea is not an excuse to not feed yourself properly. Because guess what I'm about to say next? Feed yourself properly. Give yourself real food. It's not fucking hard. It's not fucking expensive either. Right? Get one of them large bags. Don't get that shitty minute rice. Get a fucking large actual like kilo of rice or whatever the fuck the actual measurement is in real people units. I'm American. Get real pasta. Don't get them shitty like mac and cheese boxes. No, I mean like get like the bags of regular ass macaroni. Get a few potatoes every week. Get a few onions every week. Get a few pieces of fruit every week, like plums or apples, wherever's cheap. Get some flour. Get a little bit of salt. Get some cheese. Get a little bit of eggs. Milk if you want it, I guess. I don't know. If you're gonna get meat, get ground beef or ground meat in general or minced meat, because that shit keeps in your freezer forever. And don't be a coward if you get spam. Don't feel like, oh, I'm stooping so low. I'm eating spam. I get spam all the time. Who gives a shit? It's cheap fucking calories. It is not hard to feed yourself in a healthy manner, fully, for cheap. With the shit I just described. Boil some macaroni, then boil some fucking potatoes too. Mix them. I'd also buy carrots. Boil some carrots. Mix all that shit together. Put some cheese on it if you want, or otherwise it's still good without. Bam. Lunch for like 2 days, depending on how much you make. I don't know how much real people eat. If I make it, that's lunch for 2 days, because I don't eat that much. And it's not bad for you. It's not the most nutritious either. I will admit, it's a lot of carbs, but it's not bad neither. It's not hard to make it in like a little fucking dough. Take your minced meat and your onions and fry that shit up, and then cover it in the dough and make tiny little meat pies or whatever. Or pierogi, right? Like please God, please God, feed yourself properly. I weigh less than 100 pounds and I feed myself properly. Don't let me be better than you. That's embarrassing. Now let's move on away from food before I just spend the entire like next hour and a half just talking about real life budgeting tips. Because I'm not very good at those. Here's my budgeting tip: never buy anything unless it's food. That's what I do. I will admit I do still live with my mother, but that's because, hey, I'm Mexican, and if you moved out, it's probably a sign you're being abused or some shit. It's not common for Hispanics to move out at young ages, especially now, dude. Owning a house is so fucking expensive. It's just hard as fuck. Anyway, let's move on from food specifically. Let's talk about plants. You might have been looking down at narrative and thematic significance, and you're thinking to yourself, "What the hell could he possibly mean by this? Does he just mean like a recurring motif with the main villain, like a rose motif?" Sure. Let's start with that. A recurring motif from your main villain is something is basic. Let's go with a rose. The obvious implication is beauty, vanity, whatnot. Roses are this sort of refined, elegant flower for some reason. I don't know much about flowers. I'm not a flowers guy. Though my favorite flower is a rhizanthella, if that matters to anyone. Sorry, I was very nauseous for a minute there. Um, and I'm sure I mentioned that someplace before, is like they constantly leave these perfumes or potpourri around, and in the end it's revealed it's just a way to mask their failing beauty, whether or not they're afflicted with some sort of disease, and they use the scent of the flowers as a way to mask it, or this, that, or the other thing. There's a lot you can do with a solid theme, right? Especially one so devoted to plants. The obvious implication is eco-terrorism, right? Is okay. Sorry. Let me make that a question. Is the obvious implication eco-terrorism? Because that is absolutely the first thing I think of. Maybe I'm just fucking bizarre. So the obvious implication is eco-terrorism, right? What's the main villain's motives? A deep environmentalist cause. So I will bomb orphanages to get what I want. No, but you get what I'm trying to say here. And it may be, as always, like, oh, Mother Nature prevails. Something about modernity versus primitivism, right? Tradition versus progress, what have you, this, that, and the other thing. Or even just as simple as a critique on overexploitation of natural resources to the detriment of the world itself, as we're slowly, poisoning and killing ourselves. What a lovely thought, isn't it? That we go to fiction for escapism. Yet the fear of being called a shallow writer makes us bring real problems to our books. So there's a lot of things you can do with plants because plants are so ubiquitous. They're so fucking everywhere. It's so endemic to human life, or even just life in general as we know it. Plants are a necessity. Is that true? I don't know how it works microbially speaking. Was the first complex life a photosynthesizer? No, I don't think so, because wasn't the theory... No, yes? Because the theory is, or one of them, that chloroplasts were absorbed by a larger cell, yet were not consumed and entered a sort of symbiosis with a larger cell, and it would eventually become plant cells or something to that effect. I know that's the running theory and pretty much confirmed for mitochondria. I don't remember if that is the case for chloroplasts, though I believe so. Anyway, the point is, for complex life, as we know it, plants are endemic. Plants are a requirement. You need plant life for complex life. So it seems like a shoo-in that plants would be an important thing, narratively speaking, thematically speaking, especially for something like, say, a post-apocalypse story or a space opera story detailing life among the stars. The most important thing, the most vital thing, the thing that everything comes back to will always be just a single leaf or something to that effect. Or even just a diatom. Fun fact, because I love this fact, the about like 98, 99% of breathable oxygen, I don't know if that's actually the the amount. The overwhelming majority of breathable oxygen on Earth is as a result of photosynthesizing plankton in the ocean or in bodies of water in general. It is not trees. Trees are selfish motherfuckers. Rather, insects are. Nary a breath escapes the Amazon jungle. The ocean provides for her children and for her estranged, because we all came from the ocean. We are the estranged children of the sea. Regardless, she loves us dearly. Anyway, back to thematic significance, because I was thinking about this and that's what made me put it down. Let me just make sure I'm getting this word right. Perennial. Definition. Live for more than 2 years, returning and blossoming from the same root system. Take a perennial flower. So you know how I just finished talking about, like it's so important for life, these plants, and how... Well, I forgot to mention completely. Plants represent a cycle. They grow, they die. From their death, they decompose, go back into the earth, and from that comes another, whole slew of plants, or even something else. Mushrooms feeds the worms, feeds the lichen, whatnot. So for something thematically significant, you could even just be plants itself and what they represent being a cycle. Obviously the cycle of life, but Literally a cycle. How do we focus on that specifically? A perennial flower, or something akin to it. The flower blooms. It will then, of course, eventually wither away and die once the season changes. And guess what? It comes right back. The same flower, because it isn't dead, not really. Not until it's torn out by the roots. This flower. Perennial flower could be this. Could be the the crest of an immortal or something, or even just the main running motif for your long-term world building project or something. I don't know. I just want you to start thinking about how can I use the plants in a thematic manner. Because the world is literally your oyster when it comes to that. Oysters are not F tier zoo. Especially when you consider human interaction. And I don't just mean farming them for food. We are using them to revitalize it, like in what's exploited areas in the ocean because they're very efficient filters. What the fuck do you mean F tier? Sure, the ocean is acidifying. They're not going anywhere though. These mollusks. That made me mad to see. What the fuck, dude? Aquaponics. I don't think we're doing aquaponics. Are we doing aquaponics right now? Let's see. Yeah, let's do aquaponics right now. You know how I alluded to earlier, said if you know what the words aquaculture and hydroponics mean, you know what the word aquaponics means. Well, if you didn't and you didn't look it up, allow me to explain to you what those words mean. Aquaculture is the practice of raising fish on land, presumably, but it just means farming fish, raising them from roe to adulthood, allowing them to breed and expand and grow, and feeding them, and just, like I said, raising fish. Usually for commercial means, but likely, usually for commercial means, though technically could be a hobby. Hydroponics is the process of growing plants without soil. It's done by letting plant roots just dangle barely in. If you let them soak themselves completely, they will rot and start decomposing. You let them just barely tap into some water and have it constantly supplied with the things plants need. Ammonia, nitrates, calcium, things like that. And the reason this is a benefit is a little bit of efficiency. They're able to extract those nutrients they need just that much better. I say just that much better, though it is a noticeable increase actually. It's also more space efficient because a lot of hydroponics systems are designed to stack atop one another, if I'm remembering correctly. It's a way of growing plants indoors in as space efficient manner as possible, though it is a bit more intense and hands-on. So now you know hydroponics, now you know aquaculture. Let's combine that, aquaponics. So here's where it gets fun. I describe it to my friends who don't know it as fish and plant math. Balancing equations. If you know how to balance a chemistry equation, you theoretically know how to do an aquaponics system. Just not the technical part. Now, I fucking adore this shit. The way it works is you have a small little aquaculture setup. You have tanks, with their filters and everything, with their biofilters to help clean out their waste, and you pump it through the full system itself. You know how it goes, right? Keep your fish alive. You feed them, they produce the waste, and grow in size for potentially eating later or just for looks if you like that. But we're in this. I'm just gonna assume it's for human food source. So you're growing these fish to eat later. So you're feeding them, they grow, they produce waste. While they're producing waste, their filter system, still active of course, is attached to a hydroponics rig. And the water laden with waste, not laden, but like the water that has the nutrients from the waste, again, I Well, it starts as nitrate, I believe, unless I'm getting them confused. It's been a while since I've researched aquaponics. Again, made a system in 7th grade. Can you say that? So you get the nitrate cycle going by obviously having the biofilm, letting it break down into what it needs to break down into, and ammonia and whatnot. And then the wastewater gets flushed through the hydroponic system. This helps serve to clean the water and grow your plants, then gets passed through another filter, I believe, just in case, and then put right back into the fish tank as clean, fresh water, and boom. As long as you keep adding food to the fish, this is a self-sustaining system. The fish grow and produce waste and potentially breed if you're also doing that as well instead of just restocking your supply. And the wastewater gets pushed towards the plants, they grow, and again it starts all over again. Why am I telling you this? Is because a lot of space opera stories with like colony ships and whatnot, or even just sci-fi in general, have a frustrating lack of aquaponics. Why do I think there's a frustrating lack of, even a frustrating lack of hydroponics? Why do I think there's a frustrating lack of this? Because I personally do truly believe this to be the farming method of the future. Give it a century and we'll be doing this shit. Like I said, more space efficient than having large open fucking fields full of monocrops. You can a lot more because it's on a smaller scale, but still produces, if I remember correctly, faster. And I think there's studies going on whether or not they produce like better, whether or not they produce like say larger um, onion crop or like larger tomato crop or whatever bean crop. But point being, this is literally an efficient, better method of farming for like a smaller group of people, sure. But when you're on a colony ship and space is key, or if you're on like a satellite array and space is key, or if we're just in the future and you want to look cool, or if we're doing indoor farming where space is key, this is the shit to do. Now, you may be thinking, geez, I want to sort of stick one. You're not really talking about the writing aspect in this writing video. Can we get on with that? And you're right, my mistake, I'm sorry. To that I say, this is predominantly a world building thing, in all actuality. This is really just a thing for your world building. And remember, anything that you use in your world building is now free grabs for whatever you want to do for your plot. Disease strikes your fish population. Disease strikes your plant population. Power outage goes out, and for some reason there wasn't redundant power systems in place already. But hey, holy shit, our system is starting to die out and wither and whatnot. This, that, or the other thing. Boom. All because you set up a really cool aquaponics system for your really awesome, super cool story. Now back to aquaponics itself, right? Because this stuff is just endlessly fascinating to me. Just like, you can do this in real life, by the way. Please don't take this as legal advice. Check your fucking local laws, or state laws, or whatever, and see how you can do this. But I'm pretty sure you can do this. People do this. This is people's hobby. You can find this online. People do this. You can do this. You can provide you and your family and yourself and also your family like secure food. I don't think your goal should be, of course, I will now only eat what I grow. No. Rather, hey, I have a safety net. Or rather, hey, I can supplement my food, which means my expenditures go down. Why is that? Off-grid solar farming, by which I mean it's not connected to your house grid, so if your power goes out, your system still works. Get a few cheap solar panels and connect a few batteries up to it, and boom, you have a sustainable power grid that, gives power to, would you believe it, your aquaponics system, which means you can continuously grow your food and fish. Fish is also food, which means you continuously grow your food. It's not that difficult. You spend less time watering it because, oh, wouldn't you know it, the plants are attached to the water. It's so wonderful, isn't it? You only need to perform maintenance every now and again. They'll make a habit of it, I'm sure, on the fish system. And of course, not to say you should be lax or anything, but there's videos online about this. It's so cool. I want more people to know about this stuff because a lot of people I talk to don't know about this stuff. How the fuck do you not know about hydroponics? It's so cool. It's so fucking awesome. Ugh, I love this stuff. And that'll be good stuff for your world building, right? What led people to pursue this? Is it just more ecological focus than local politics that led to this being championed and having funding put behind it? Whatever. You can figure it out on your own from there. It's just like, ugh, aquaponics, how I love you. Oh man, I'm gonna finish that thought off before I just go on a fucking 20-minute long repetition streak. I also need to go use the bathroom real quick. I'll be back. Oh man, I fucking love aquaponics. It's so cool. Anyway, moving on though, for your benefit more than mine. I've pretty much said this entire thing is your excuse to world build. Go absolutely. I'm moving on to that note in particular. This entire thing is your excuse to world build. Go fucking nuts, dog. You want to have this entire giant. What's that one thing? It's the clone tree. It's this massive bundle of root structure underneath that spans for miles, and it's one tree, and it's fucking huge, and they're all clones. You want that, but on a fucking even massiver scale. Chock full of any fucking plant you want in there, any sort of moss or lichen, or hanging trees or underbrush, or not hanging trees. Yeah, at that point, why not hanging trees? That fucking big, right? I meant like hanging plants or carnivorous plants or whatever. Go fucking nuts. Real plants are crazier. Whatever you're thinking of right now, there's a plant in real life that's much more fucking bizarre and insane. Like that one tree that explodes to spread its seeds around. You want to have a culture that's incredibly reliant on this one sort of this one plant for one reason or another. Sure, man, do it. Go ahead. This is your story. These are your plants that you get to play around with. Do you like this one real life plant and want it to shine a lot more? Go crazy. Do you, for some reason, are completely head over heel for stinging nettles? Make a forest just stuffed full of them. All right, and then whatever weird genetic aberrations come from that happening, whatever those nettles may have evolved into, or like a new kind or whatever. You get what I'm trying to say here. This is literally your excuse to do as much world building as you want. And if you think, why would I want to do that? World building for plants is lame. You're wrong, and I don't like you. Brief stop for enemy. I'm just wrapping these up right now because I don't know. I want to go to bed soon, and I'm running out on steam a little bit. And if I go on, I know I can talk for like another hour and a half, but if I do, I'm just going to repeat myself and gush about this weird thing I like again and again and again and again. Enemy design. What's more banging than a plant as an enemy? And I don't mean like a piranha plant. I mean like, what's it called? Darkest Dungeon 2, the Tangle region. Zombies and skeletons and whatnot animated by living, but well, obviously by plants, puppeteering them. Vines constantly having their bodies in motion even as they dream forever. That's fucking badass, isn't it? Everyone loves a solid druid, don't we? Witches usually have a lot to do with herbs and all sorts of weird magical plants. Bastion from Overwatch. He is arguably plant adjacent. You can do whatever the fuck you want when it comes to enemy design. Cultural significance, this is just, figure that out yourself, it's world building. Other uses and economy go hand in hand. The obvious answer for economy is, of course, food, right? Your cash crops to tobacco, sugar, whatever. But the textile industry, the ship rigging industry, the lumber industry, the medical industry, what does that all come from? That's right, plants. Maybe thinking textile. No, wool. Ah, mostly maybe. But what about linen? What about cotton? What about other plant-based fibers? For ship rigging, where do you think those massive ropes come from? That's all cordage, baby. And even cordage on a smaller scale. Ropes are versatile, ropes are useful. Ropes are great for a traveler, because it helps you keep your things together. Or making rope ladders, or whatever the hell people use rope for. 1,001 things you can use rope for. Weird sex shit. Nothing better than rope. Or cordage in general. Line and thread and twine. Twine for stitching. Needle thread. Bunch of stuff you can use this for. What does it all come from? That's right, baby. Plants, which I love dearly. Lumber. This is the most obvious thing in the world. Come on. Paper mills, right? Like I mentioned already, medicines, and tonics and tinctures, and alchemy, and magic in general, depending on how your magic system works in your story. Plants are fucking bitchin', and your story should have bitchin' plants, and aquaponics, and a lack of monocropping, and this, that, and the other thing. And you know what? Just rewatch this video. See ya. I'm sorry to trap you in an eternal loop where can do nothing but watch this video forever. Good thing it's one of my best.